When it came to pop music, 2024 had it all. It had comebacks, breakthroughs, and we'll get to talking about that. Hi, I'm Sam, also known as Pop Sam Cam, and I'm going to run you through the most memorable moments of 2024 for better and for worse. First, I'm going to take you through my favorite songs of the year, and then I'm going to take you through what I thought were the worst songs of the year. I mean, 2024 has been very, very strong. We saw some huge pop songs. I feel like for the first year in many, many years, pop was firmly back on top. On the charts particularly, where we saw songs like Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso and Chappell Roan's Good Luck Babe really take over. And then we also saw moments from huge pop stars like Taylor Swift coming through with her number one single Fortnite, and Beyonce coming through with her number one single Texas Hold'em. And then Ariana Grande with two number one singles, Yes and also We Can't Be Friends. But this list is not about the charts. It's simply about the songs that I thought did the best job in 2024. And I'm going to run you through them. If you resonate with any of this list, hit subscribe so you can see further lists like this and also my reactions in 2025. You can also join my Discord where we talk about pop music all the time. I'll drop the link down below for that. But let's get started with this list. Firstly, I'm going to show up my 30 to 21, which we'll just go through super quickly. Number 30, Rachel Chinariri's Never Needed Me. Waxahachie in 29 with Right Back to It. 28 was Porter Robinson with Cheerleader. 27, Billie Eilish's L'amour de ma vie. 26, Olivia Rodrigo, So American. 25, Griff, Last Night's Mascara. 24, Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. 23, Nilüfer Yanya, Just a Western. 22, McGee, Alesis. 21, Beyonce, Two Hands to Heaven. Let's get into the top 20, which starts with Stick Around by an artist called Medium Build. Medium Build was a new discovery for me this year. He's had records in the past, but Country is his first one that seems to have really broken through. And Stick Around is this beautiful song that finishes the album, and it finishes in such an anthemic, liberating note. And I just thought it was a really special moment this year. Number 19, 360 from Brat by Charli XCX. This song had that kind of beat that I could just hear looped for like several minutes. I just wanted to keep hearing more and more and more of it. And then what Charli does with it in terms of making it this anthem about embracing self-confidence, but also recognizing her kind of underdog status, which she's done away with now. I just thought that it truly was one of the anthems of 2024. In number 18, Casey Musgraves' Deeper Well. I love that this was her Saturn Return song. I love that it's the first single of the album because it doesn't necessarily have first single vibes because it is so kind of downbeat and what's the word for it? Meditative, I would say. But the way that she sings about letting go of the things that are no longer serving her and embracing this new kind of calmer lifestyle, I think she does so effortlessly and so poignantly. And I really enjoyed this song this year. 17, We Can't Be Friends by Ariana Grande. First time I heard it, I obviously got the Robyn vibes. There are huge Robyn vibes coming through on this, but it takes a different kind of approach tonally, and I think there's something really sweet about the way she sings. It's very gentle, the way she approaches it vocally. And then I think that second verse where she talks about me and my truth, we sit in silence, and the beat drops out. I feel like that is the real moment of the song and the point that it really starts to take off. And in terms of pop songs, her and Max Martin have just created another perfect one with this that sits up there with moments like Into You and Love Me Harder. Number 16, Don't Forget Me by Maggie Rogers. The thing I find so cool about this song, or maybe cool's not the right word, but sort of heartwarming about it, is she's taking on a topic that I don't think many her age do in music. And that's the feeling that you get when the others around you are approaching milestones that you're not ready for yet, whether that be getting married, having children. And she approaches it, she firstly zeroes in on it in the verses in a really particular way. And then in the chorus, she goes kind of widescreen with it and talks about how she's worried that she won't be remembered if she doesn't kind of do these things. And I think that that's a really interesting perspective to take and a really honest one as well. And I honestly think it's the best song that she's ever written. Number 15, Balloon by Tyler, the Creator, off Chromacopia, with an incredible feature from Doechii. I gotta be honest, it's the Doechii feature that pulls me across the line with this song. I love the beat. I think that it's one of the more jubilant moments on Chromacopia and comes at a perfect point in the record. But when Doechii comes through with that verse, it's reminding me of like Nicki Minaj in the early 2010s. She has that growl to her voice. She has that kind of like almost crazy glimmer in her eye, which I loved as well. I thought that this song, I mean, since it's come out, it's been on repeat for me. Number 14, But Daddy, I Love Him from Taylor Swift. I was up and down with the Tortured Poets department. It didn't totally work for me as an album, even more so when you extend it into the anthology. She really lost me, but there was something that I wanted this album to do, and it was picking up on a note from Midnight's, particularly with a song called Would've, Should've, Could've, or Would've, Could've, Should've, whichever order she puts it in. And it also reminds me of something she was doing on Speak Now as well, which was sort of this like arena rock sound with notes of country as well. And she picks it up on But Daddy, I Love Him, and I really love that. But even more so, this is some of the most honest lyric writing she has ever given us in terms of talking about the backlash she received from her fans for dating Maddie Healy. And such a daring way to put it out there when obviously her whole career is kind of about her fans and she has this really close relationship to them. So to take them on in this song and kind of talk about how they were really, really against her at this point and she was just ignoring it and making these decisions anyway is a type of honesty that we don't usually get from Taylor Swift. Like, we have gotten honesty from her in the past, but when it comes to situations about her fame and the way that the public views her relationships, this song zeroes in on it more so than any other song I've ever heard from her. Number 13, Diet Pepsi by Addison Rae. I liked the Addison Rae EP. I think it was last year or maybe the year before. I thought that it was a really kind of sharp pop record, and I thought that it showed that she knew pop music more than perhaps we thought. She's obviously a huge fan of the genre and a student of the genre as well. She's fans of artists like Charli XCX and Arca, obviously. But this song carved out more of an identity for her. She's clearly found collaborators that she really enjoys working with. She's got an all-female team on Diet Pepsi. And Diet Pepsi sort of answers the question of, what would it sound like if Lana Del Rey did go down the pop route instead of doing kind of whatever the fuck she wants? And the answer is this perfect pop song, which has a chorus that has locked into the minds of everybody this year, and for good reason, because it's just so brilliantly written. I think that Addison's voice really works in this sort of production, and I feel like it's turned her into a legitimate pop star. Like, she is no longer a TikTok star. She is somebody that people are waiting for new music from. I think she followed it up strongly with Aquamarine, and I'm really excited to see where she goes in 2025. In number 12, Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA. This is obviously off the GNX album. I just think that SZA and Kendrick have such a synergy that is so rare to find in music, and I feel like we've only seen it a couple times with artists throughout history, with duos that have sort of popped up and just make total sense together. I mean, Beyonce and Jay-Z being one of them, particularly early in their career. But the way that their voices blend on Luther just really gives me something. Like, it's a warmth. And the fact that Kendrick comes up first, then SZA delivers her verse, and then they come in together on that excellent chorus. And I don't know, it just melts me the way that they sing together. I think that they're one of the duos. What am I trying to say? They are one of the most exciting duos in music right now, and I love that they're touring together next year, and I hope that we just get more material from them. In number 11, Nissan Altima by Doechii off her Alligator Bites Never Heal mixtape. I was really interested to hear what Doechii was going to do this year, because obviously she'd had a huge hit with What It Is, and I thought maybe she'd go down that R&B pop route, but she didn't, and Nissan Altima kind of shows how much we'd be missing out on if she did do that, because she has an intensity and she has a what's the word? A kind of a cleverness to the way that she approaches her wordplay as well that just comes so naturally to her. The words just literally fall off her tongue in this song. It reminds me a little bit of Andre 3000. It reminds me a little bit of Kendrick. It also reminds me of like some of SZA's more like rappy moments as well. And I just love that her charisma shines through during this whole song. It's short. It's like 2 minutes long, but it's so sharp that by the end of it, it feels like an absolute punch in the face. In number 10, I had I Love It by Camila Cabello off her CXOXO album. I didn't think the album as a whole really like made total sense to me, but I really loved I Love It. I feel like it got kind of crushed under the weight of the judgment of people calling it a Charli XCX carbon copy. And to me, it just doesn't present like that. Like obviously there's some Charli hyperpop references in there, but mostly it felt like something fresh to me. I thought that the beat that she did with Jasper Harris and El Guincho is like amazing. The way that it just subtly develops until you get that like incredible head rush that leads into the Playboi Carti verse. And even though the Playboi Carti verse, you can almost not recognize a single word that he's saying, it is so melodic that it really just gets me. It taps into something within me. I think that the chorus is so repetitive and yet manages to like conjure a melody and conjure some excitement within that. And I feel like this song is hated on for no reason and needs to be reevaluated. Number 9, Sabrina Carpenter, Please, Please, Please. What a year Sabrina Carpenter has had. And there's so many moments I could have chosen for this list. Obviously, I've already mentioned Espresso, but Taste is particularly strong. Bedchem, Juno, so many. The reason I'm going with Please, Please, Please is because I feel like it really showcased that she was more than just sort of like a one-hit wonder pop star. Espresso certainly could have like put her in that zone, but Please, Please, Please had her come out, make a really strong statement and be like, no, not only am I a great songwriter, she wrote this just with Jack Antonoff and Amy Allen as well, but I'm also an incredible performer with a really individual voice. And I think you see that when she delivers that line that ends with motherfucker. It's just got such a Sabrina Carpenter flavor to it that it's like nobody else could make this song as interesting as she does. I love the Dolly Parton meets Casey Musgraves vibes that come through it in as well. I love that it's sweet, but also a little bit venomous too. I think this is an excellent song. Number 8, Sympathy is a Knife by Charli XCX off of Brat. This song lyrically taps into something that you don't hear pop stars speak about that often, and that's comparing themselves to others. She's obviously found herself in a situation, allegedly, where she's backstage with Taylor Swift. Charli has always struggled with being a niche artist versus feeling like she could be a main stage pop star. And Taylor Swift obviously very vividly represents the latter. And when she has to size up to her, it makes her feel small. And she puts that into a song in such an excellent way. Like this song is a spiral in every sense of the word. She's just going down this rabbit hole of toxic thoughts, and the beat just goes with her as well. It is so steely and industrial and tough. I love the way that she sings it. I thought that it was a really, really stunning moment from her and will go down as one of the clear highlights of her career. 7, You Sex You Are by FKA Twigs. Love seeing FKA Twigs go to the dance floor and find her kind of version of Euphoria. This is not your sort of put your hands up and party because the world's ending kind of track. This is more of a find euphoria in something that feels smoother and slow burning. And she really takes her time with it and it opens up, the song blooms. And I love the way that the beat develops throughout. And then it finally pulsates towards the end. It's like your heart rate is rising for the whole thing. And FKA Twigs is your guide throughout this whole thing. The way that she sings, as always, is so beautiful. And it sounds even better surrounded by these beats. Very excited for this whole album. But You Sex You Are was a great kickoff. 6, Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. What more can you say about this song? One of the biggest songs of the year. What I like about it is it can operate as the moment that it was, which was the sucker punch in the Drake-Kendrick battle, but then it also can operate independently as just a really clever hit. Like, it felt like it rejuvenated hip-hop this year. I love the DJ Mustard kind of West Coast beat. I love that Kendrick sounds a little bit different on it. He's bringing something new to the table, and that hook just lodges in your brain instantly. It was meant to be shouted in clubs, and that's exactly what happened this year. Such a smart song. 5, Bodyguard by Beyonce. Loved Cowboy Carter, but this moment was one I was not really expecting from her. It's different to Texas Hold'em or Yaya that have a really strong Americana country flavor. This one goes down a 70s, almost soft rock path that's kind of inspired by Carole King, I would say, and brings out this effortless cool in Beyonce that you don't always see. She's such a tough, precise performer that often you don't see her just relax and fall into the beat like she does on this song. And that's what I really loved about it. Ryan Beatty is one of the writers on this song. I love Ryan's work. I've been a big fan of him for a while. And he writes some of the nicest lines on this song, like, "Sometimes I hold you closer just to know you're real," which is the real highlight of this song for me. Bodyguard is a top tier Beyonce song. Number 4, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. So much going on Hit Me Hard and Soft. So many different elements of experimentation and production and genres being merged together. It really is quite an adventure. But in the midst of it is this straight down the line, perfect pop song. Birds of a Feather's not doing anything tricky. It is just giving you one of the best, if not the best, pop melodies of the year. It's so sweet and it's so heartfelt, and Billie Eilish sings it with such an airiness and such a lightness to it. Honestly, lightness is probably the word for this whole song, because it feels like you're levitating from the moment you hit play. And it's one of those songs that you're like, how did this not exist already? Because it feels like an instant classic. Incredible song. Number 3, Jade, Angel of My Dreams. Jade is, of course, one of the members of Little Mix. Each of them stepped out on their own solo-wise this year. But Jade really kind of embraced the newfound freedom. And I think that it's really cool that she decided that she obviously wanted to make pop music. She's a huge pop fan, but she embraced the freedom that this genre gives you in terms of maximalism. Like, if you're going to throw everything at the wall and make it crazy and bonkers and maybe a little bit distasteful, but who cares? Like, go back to Lady Gaga, the Fame Monster kind of era. Pop music where everything was theatrical and over the top. If you're going to do it on your debut single and enjoy it. And that's exactly what Jade does. She has so much fun with this. You can tell that she's a pop fan because she's like, oh wow, I have the freedom to do everything and I'm going to run amok like a little kid who's been given all the paints and just is throwing them at the wall. It's an incredible moment. And what's even more clever about it is it tracks her kind of journey in the industry as well, in terms of her toxic relationship with fame and with music, in terms of she loves it so much. I mean, you can hear that on this song, but also the industry is a pretty toxic place to be. It's a monster, and she portrays both sides of it. And I think that is just so smart. It hooks so many people in who didn't know a lot about Little Mix, and that's a sign of somebody who is effortlessly stepping out on her own. Angel of My Dreams is a smash. Number 2, Girl So Confusing remix with Lorde. Charli XCX, of course. We've already talked about Sympathy Is a Knife and how she was sizing herself up to maybe Taylor Swift. Well, on Girl So Confusing, she sizes herself up to Lorde, but some of it is about sizing herself up to Lorde as a pop star, but it's also about sizing herself up to Lorde as a person and wondering about their relationship and kind of overthinking it. These two have been compared so much. They've made a sort of similar indent in this pocket of like kind of alternative leaning pop music. And most fans sort of expect that Lorde and Charli XCX would just make great music together and will get along because they share so many of the same fans. And this is Charli XCX kind of questioning that and questioning why things are a little bit awkward. And then crazy, people online that day are like, this has to be about Lorde. Lorde ends up getting a message from Charli confirming, yes, this is about you. And a week later, I think it's a week later, we get this verse from Lorde that just adds another depth to this. And it was quite honestly like one of the most, it was the most exciting pop event of the year to hear Lorde add that verse. My mouth dropped to the floor that she just addressed everything. She held absolutely nothing back, just like Charli did, and literally worked it out on the remix. But it also felt like a super healing moment for pop music and for female pop stars as well. Just so generous. I think generous is the right word. The way it's generous how Charli and Lorde have been with their honesty this year in creating a moment like this. And I think part of what makes Brat so spectacular was its ability to evolve in real time, particularly when it comes to this song. Incredible work. And number one, Good Luck Babe by Chappell Roan. This to me is the most classic song we got this year. Without even digging into it any deeper, it already sounds like it's been around for years. It sounds like something that could have been in my parents' CD collection, for example. But there's a way that Chappell approaches this song that makes her a star. The way that she goes into her falsetto in the chorus and gives us something that's like almost Kate Bushy, but just so full of emotion. And then when she goes into the bridge, she has such feeling in the way that she delivers it. Like there is just venom spilling from her mouth when she sings that. And the great thing about it is that she does it so convincingly that people related to it instantly. The moment that she performs that bridge at Coachella for the first time, it was clear that this was going to be a hit because everybody watching was immediately like, wow, I get it. And from there, they dug deeper into her discography and made like several Chappell Roan songs a hit this year. But it was all led by this. Good Luck Babe was the leader of the pack, and for good reason. I think it is flawless in every single way and an absolute 10 out of 10 moment, and my song of the year. Before we go into the worst songs of the year, I do have a playlist that has my 100 favorite songs of the year. I will drop that in the comments down below or in the little description thing down below as well. What I don't have a playlist for is my worst songs of the year. Okay, I don't have a list of my 20 worst songs of the year, but I do have a list of 5 songs that I found particularly bad. Let's get into it, starting with number 5, Eminem's Houdini. Look, I haven't been a fan of much of Eminem's later career work, but Houdini attempts to go back and reclaim the magic of some of his like almost comedy-leaning earlier songs like Without You and Just Lose It. It even references them in the beginning part of this song. But the problem is now he's a 52-year-old man, and it just comes across as kind of desperate and a little bit lame, to be honest. It's got it just really lacks any kind of relevancy or any kind of taste. He's making like some remarks that really should have been left 20 years ago. It's a real clunker. 4 is Karma by Jojo Siwa. Like, I applaud Jojo for stepping out on her own and doing her thing. And I actually think she's quite an engaging media personality. But this song, she reached back into the archives. It's a Miley Cyrus offcut. And she's done it in a way that is so abrasive and so loud that I feel like even if I turn the volume down to 0 on this song, I can still hear her screaming. It is just so intense, so in your face. And maybe that's what she wanted for the first entrance in, but I'm not sure the attention that this song got is what she exactly wanted. It is really something. In number 3, Spicy Margarita by Jason Derulo and Michael Bublé. There's no end to what Jason Derulo will do, really. He's sampled so many different songs. And for this one, he goes and grabs Michael Bublé's Sway, which was a hit for him well over a decade ago, and takes it into this, bland kind of pop meets salsa atmosphere that is just so contrived and just lacking any sort of flavor. For a song called Spicy Margarita, it really reads more as milk to me. Number 2, I have put Woman's World by Katy Perry. I, for one, was very excited for Katy Perry's return. I felt like the The like temperature for her was really good. People were ready for a comeback. People were feeling particularly nostalgic about the Teenage Dream era. And her Play tour, which was essentially like a greatest hits outing in Vegas, had done very well and contributed to this good feeling around Katie. And for some reason, they decide to go out with this, firstly, very confusing statement that is parodying feminism, but also maybe just a feminist anthem or an attempt at it. Nobody could really explain what was going on. And on top of that, she teams up with a producer that I just will not name or go into any further because we've rehashed it over and over again, but with a beat that just sounds like it was taped together with literally sticky tape. It is so cheap and so almost AI generated for a pop star of her stature coming back with what was meant to be the song of the summer. This just totally missed the mark and honestly put the era off on the wrong foot, so much so that it was never going to recover no matter what she did next. And in number 1, I've got Drake with Snow Day for Wagwan Delilah. Now, Wagwan Delilah is a cover of Plain White T's hit, Hey There Delilah. But what it's basically doing is attempting to make an in-joke that only people from Toronto would understand. But from what I gather, not even people from Toronto found this particularly amusing. What I find that, apart from it being like almost unlistenable, I would say unlistenable, it comes at a time where Drake has just tapped out of one of the biggest, most headline-grabbing hip-hop feuds of all time. One of the people in that feud, Kendrick Lamar, has the number 1 song in the country with Not Like Us. The other one, Drake, is releasing this bizarre cover of Hey There Delilah that is meant to be a joke, but kind of just totally misses the mark and comes off as lame. It's just such a confusing way to deal with this feud. Like, if anything, after it, come out with your most banging song ever, like a song that nobody can deny, instead of like trying to shrug it off with this weird memey song. A very, very bizarre moment, and one that you truly could not have predicted to cap off this feud between the two of them. That's it. That's my least 5 favorite songs of the year, as well as my favorite songs of the year. Let's focus more on the positive ones. You can hit the playlist down below if you want to listen to my full list of 100. You can also come and join me on TikTok, Instagram, wherever you feel most comfortable if you want to hear more pop music news all the time from me. Thank you for joining me. Hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. I appreciate it. See you next time.